Hi everyone, my name is Anita Ladhani. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and an energy practitioner. And in this video, I want to talk about the concept of the word of the year. So what is the word of the year? Why do you need to have one? Well, you don't need to have one, but the word of the year is an amazingly powerful exercise. As simple as it seems, it's amazingly powerful. And I've done it for at least the last 6 years or so. It was first introduced to me by my soul sister Noor, and it really started with Ali Edwards. If you just put in one little word, that's kind of how I got introduced to this concept of the word of the year. And at that point, she was the only one doing it. You can still go to Ali Edwards, or just type in one little word, and it will take you to Ali Edwards' website, and you can sign up for her, Word of the Year program, where she basically sends you or gives you exercises where not only do helps you come up with the word of the year, but then you're able to every month reflect on the word of the year and stay on task. I have to be honest, I signed up the program for 2 years in a row way back, 6 years ago, and I didn't quite keep up with it. So now I've kind of found my own, way of doing it. But the idea is the word of the year. And if you just, Google that will come up, and you'll get a lot of amazing blog posts and a lot of different printables, that you can come up with. So I was searching, myself, saying, okay, how do I explain this? Because I know I do it, but it's one thing to understand it, but it's another to explain this concept, in an intelligent way. I can't even say the word, so imagine me trying to explain this concept to you guys. So there's the blog that showed up was, it's called Everyday Best with Shannon Schmidt. So I want to give her credit because that's where I'm getting this from. And it says 3 reasons to have a word of the year. And I'm just going to read her words because I think they're quite simple and powerful. Having a word of the year can help you stay aligned with the goals and desires you have for the coming year. And if chosen well, it can help anchor any New Year's resolutions you make. The word of the year is kind of like the trunk of a big tree. It's the why for all the smaller resolutions you might have as its branches. The second point she makes is that a word of the year can apply to all areas of your life. Rather than just a specific way. Specific change, the way a resolution can. So resolution is very specific, I'm going to work out, I want to make more money, I want to be nicer, I want to be happier, blah, 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 blah. But a word of the year kind of is the general theme of your life that summarizes, your overall resolutions and goals for yourself. A word of the year can be used as a focus to elevate both your personal life and your work life if you choose so. And then the last thing she says, she says, a single word can be easier to keep in your mind and easier to focus on when you're in the throes of daily life. And so then how do you find the word of the year, right? So it's around this time that I start really just sort of, thinking, what do I want my year to be? What do I want the word of the year? So let me tell you the story about how I came to my word of the year in the past few years. So in 2014, my word of the year was silence. And the reason I chose silence was because I had like something we call diarrhea of the mouth. I couldn't shut up. I was going through a lot, I'm guessing. I can't even remember at this point. But, I was, in 2013, I had really sort of put myself repeatedly in situations where I was sharing too much. And it was really, the word silence was a reminder to just be quiet, to just silence my mouth, silence my, really, it was that year, it was just about, not talking so much. 2015, and I think I kind of overdid it in 2014. So then the word for 2015 was open. I wanted to be open to receiving love in my life. I wanted to be open to receiving success in my life. I wanted to be open to receiving, new opportunities in my life. And that's how that word came around. And then 2015 was a tough year. So 2016, the word of the year for me was miracles, because I needed miracles in my life. And it was interesting because 2016 was a very challenging year. If you know me and know my personal story, it was a very, very challenging year. But it definitely, it's truly as in all the struggles that 2016 brought, it brought gifts, which I can now look back. At that time, I mean, all we did was, my mother and I, and people that were involved in the different areas, we literally just cried and prayed for a miracle, and we got our miracle, thank God. But the miracle came at the beginning of 2017, which is really interesting. And so the word for 2017 I had was flourish. And I think I did, and it wasn't just, again, the word for wasn't just about, for me at that point, wasn't just about myself, but it was about my kids, and it was about my immediate family, and it was about, my online, my Etsy shop. I wanted that to flourish. I wanted my private practice to flourish. I wanted myself to flourish into the person, that I would become. And so 2017 was actually, was a very, very amazing year. And so 2017 is when I went, for my theta healing. 2017 is when I went for, Vipassana. A lot of changes happened in 2017, especially, towards October, November, September, October, November. A lot of things started to shift. Completely game changers that I didn't expect, which is why I am where I am now. So then 2017 was coming to an end, and the word was flourish, and I felt like I had flourished, but then I needed to amp it up to the next level. So I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I just repeat the word, which was very tempting? I was this close because I could not pick a word. And then something happened. I said, the word prosper, for whatever reason, started to come in my head. So I was actually, I had moved into this new place, and I was looking for towels, kitchen towels. And, I saw this kitchen towel at Ross. I mean, it's not a very attractive color, but what it says was it has a Bible verse on it. So I read it, and I thought, oh, that's nice. And I picked it up, and I brought it home, and I didn't think anything about it. And so the Bible verse is Jeremiah 29:11, and it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future." And I brought it and I hung it up, and I honestly didn't even realize, I thought, oh, this is such a beautiful Bible verse, and it's really spoke to me, but that was it. And then a week later, again, I had moved in, so I was looking for some, coffee mugs, and then I see a set of these. I know it's backwards, guys. Let me, I'll just read it to you. But I saw this one, and this is when it really hit me. And I didn't even realize that it was the exact same Bible verse that I had picked up a few weeks ago on this towel, until I brought this home. And that's when I kind of realized, wait a minute. I'm actually, again, picking the same Bible verse, and it's speaking to me. And again, this one says journey on top, right? And I thought, yeah, life is a journey, and I believe that. And then it's again Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future." And when I made that connection, I was already sort of sitting with the word prosper, is when it was like an aha moment for me. I was like, oh, of course, the word has to be prosper. I mean, twice I'm getting messages, And so, if you've seen me online, and if you know me in my personal life, people have commented, the people closest to me, is how much they've seen me grow, how much they've seen me evolve, how much they've seen me prosper, just in this last year. The last 2 years have been very powerful, but just again in this last year, it's been such an amazing journey. And so now, going forward, it's like, all right, now what is my word of the year going to be for 2019? I have no idea. And that's going to be the fun part. And so I'm going to meditate on it. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to keep my eyes open. But I'm also going to really sit and do some journaling and some goal setting and some reflections, as I had talked in my other video, about where, what has 2018 been like? And what more do I want? Because there are things that have come up in this year that I could not have anticipated. The response to these little videos I sit doing in my little place here, in Miami, it's been such a humbling experience to hear that they're being watched by people around the world. And, I can only assume that if I'm hearing from a couple of people that are reaching out and, sharing their stories and, sharing how these videos have made an impact, then I'm assuming, it's inshallah, if I'm sure there are people who are not reaching out that this is, hopefully making an impact for. And again, this is not about me in terms of the videos. It's just, I'm sharing that just as a way of how far I feel that I have come. And evolved is, Nasreen, it's really, that's the only word I can think of. So that has been my journey to point. So as I sit and I reflect on 2018, this, I've talked about this. The women's retreat, I had no intention of doing that 2 months ago, let alone at the beginning of the year. Those who know me know that I had, tried to do this 4 years ago, although the original plan was to wait till after the kids go to college. But somehow I got motivated and I thought, okay, let me do this. And I just did, people didn't know who I was. People didn't know what I was about. And I don't think there was a need or whatever for it at the time. And I planned it and I announced it and I didn't get the response. So I was able to cancel it. And I realized, okay, you're not ready. It's not the right time. Just sit with it. And about literally 6 weeks ago, I was on the phone with a friend and she was telling me something. And I in mid-sentence, I said, you know what? It's time to do the retreat. And next thing you know, I started looking for places. And 3 weeks later, I found a place and immediately knew it was the right place, paid the deposit, signed up for it, I booked it. And I said, okay, leap of faith, let's see who comes, and opened it up. And within 24 hours, it was already, sold, booked, not to mention I have a waiting list. I feel like I'm oversold. I know I'm oversold. So it's going to be a very tight squeeze. But it's exciting because, this is not something I anticipated. This is not something this is a game changer. The women's retreat, there's another one coming up in June, and I can already tell there's probably going to be another one coming up in October. I'm thinking that one will probably be Florida, because I'm not going anywhere that's cold. I'm a Floridian. I don't like cold weather. So, Prosper has really, I feel like I've prospered as an individual. So now where do we go from here? So that's the journey of the word of the year. You have to do some homework. You have to sit with it. And if you, again, go online and you sort of, put in word of the year, or if you go on Pinterest, I'm sure there's tons of YouTube videos, including this one, that you will be able to get printouts that give you suggestions, of word of the year. Some of the other suggestions were, someone said their word of the year was finished, because they tend to start projects, but they don't finish them. So that was important word of the year. Whatever. Again, the word of the year is yours. And the cool thing is that this is such a huge market that you can actually order a bracelet or a necklace, or a little, carving out of, a word of the year where you can have it in your office. And that way it serves as a reminder to, continue to be focused and stay on task, and in case you kind of get discouraged or you slip off your goals, perfectly okay. Anyways, I hope you take this time. I hope, you end 2018 with some, thoughts, some clear intentions. Do the homework, guys, because this is an amazing journey. And I have a feeling we'll be doing this again, for years to come. So If you have any questions, inbox me or message below, and I'll be happy to respond. And love and light. Take care and God bless. Bye bye.